Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about our thoughts on Epic Universe. We've been twice now. It is still in previews, testing, what do they call it?
Technical rehearsal.
Technical rehearsal, thank you. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt on some things, but I do want to bring up some concerns, some pros and cons that we kind of are thinking of Epic Universe at this time at least. So I think we're going to start with the pros and then we'll kind of wrap around to some good items again at the end, but we're gonna start with the pros that we have written down. We have more, and we'll talk through it. First one is going to be the food. I think that the food, there were lots of different options. You have lots of snack items, kind of the fast, quick, grab and go type items. Yeah. Then they had quite a few sit down services that we haven't even touched. We haven't started any of those. They have the Oak Tavern. They have the Toadstool Cafe. You can get food at the Burning Blade Tavern, which we didn't do. They have the one in Harry Potter. They have the sit down in Isle of Berk. Like there's a lot we haven't even touched. Oh, Pizza Moon.
Pizza Moon.
Pizza Moon. We didn't touch that.
Yeah, so one thing I noticed in this theme park compared to some others we've been going to is all their food options revolved around more kind of sit down restaurants and themed restaurants around the portal locations as opposed to just random snack carts. Did they still have your popcorn snack carts and things like that? Yes, but it was just popcorn. You know, all your main food, you had to go to a restaurant.
A stand or a restaurant, yeah. Now we will get around to trying more food, obviously. We've only been twice. The first time we barely ate anything. We were so focused on rides. The second time we had a couple snacks, but we weren't really feeling too hungry. It was really warm, so we'll be back and try more food and give some reviews on that.
I think there's a good amount of sweet treats in this park. If you have a sweet tooth, there's no shortage of sweet treats. There's lots of candy shops, chocolate shops, How to Train Your Dragon had a whole Rice Krispie treat shop. There's just a lot of fun treats in this park.
I think we'll jump into two cons that kind of go along with the food. We'll kind of pair them together if we can think of it. So two things that we noticed, again, they're still in previews, technical rehearsals, I understand it. But the two times that we went, they did not have food menus, restaurant menus for any of their quick service. So they did for the, Spitfire Grill in How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. When we went a couple weeks ago, they did have the menus up at Spitfire Grill. And then when we just went this last Thursday, there were no menus.
Nothing.
So you would have to go up to the cast member and be like, hey, what do you guys got? Which people are not going to do in today's day and age. And then Donkey Kong was the other way around, where they didn't have a menu a couple weeks back when you go buy the Dole Whip float. This time they did. So it was great. We knew exactly what we were getting. We knew the price. Perfect. But to me, they know what they're going to be selling. And the fact that they don't have all the menus up and ready to go, all the food released, it's a bit interesting to me.
That is one thing where if you want to have a good flow in your park, that almost works against your flow because every person walking up to your counter or bar or whatever to order something, they don't even know what's there. So every person is going to walk up and go, well, shoot, I don't even know what you have here. Can I take a look at a menu? And now you're finally getting maybe a menu if they have one, unless they're just describing the drinks to you.
Perfect example. We were in the Ministry of Magic and we were just exploring. We went down these alleyways, a place we hadn't gone the first time. So there's this gentleman cast member sitting outside the door and he's directing people through the door. So we were like, what's in here? We'll go, I guess. We walk in. I don't know. All I saw was that there were beer taps. So we had to ask the lady at the front, hey, what is this? She goes, oh, we're like a bar. We have drinks and things. We have some snacks and foods. But I don't even think, I tried to look up on the counter. I don't think they had menus out. And we're not beer people. We're not going to go to drink. We already had one or two that we then just left. It smelled really good though. So we probably should have just asked what do you got? But we're the kind of people that we really have to study a menu to see what our best options are. We like to know what's in each dish. And we just couldn't get that experience, unfortunately, at this Harry Potter place.
Well, I think a good point would be if you're in the mindset of most families and this is a vacation trip for you, you're only going to be eating at probably one food spot in your trip. So it's really hard to pick where you want to eat when you don't even know what there is to eat. So it's honestly easier to go to the one or two restaurants that might have an actual menu because you actually know what you're gonna get.
And again, it's at this time. Menus are coming soon. The park opens in 18 days officially to the public, but to me, you should already know what your menus are and what you're serving. So I don't understand why they can't just boot those menus up.
I feel like a rehearsal should be, think about it this way. If you go to a dress rehearsal for a wedding, it's an active rehearsal of what's literally going to happen that day. You don't show up and they go, well, we don't actually have the venue, but this is what we're going to be doing. Like, you have the literal everything that's happening. So I don't know how you can have a rehearsal for a theme park when you don't actually have the items to rehearse with, if that makes sense. A good point. Even the cast members, how are they supposed to prepare for the opening release of the park when they can't even rehearse for what they're supposed to do? So we even went up to a couple snack booths, great example, where the employee didn't even know the price of the popcorn and had to ask us, hey, what's the sign say up there? What's the price of the popcorn? What should I type into the computer?
After he already typed it in and charged us.
Yeah, I just feel like that's not rehearsal stuff. That should already be done.
Ironed out, yeah.
That, you should be ironing out, these two restaurants are the only ones that don't have menus, or they're short on menus, or it just, I don't know.
I think enough about food for now. So we're gonna move on to a couple more pros. One, for now at least, is that it's really spacious. In our opinion, there's a lot of space in pretty much all the portals. Celestial Park, there is so much open space, the availability. You have the seating around the fountain and everything, right in front of the Helios Hotel. Like, there's a lot of space. Another thing that we really liked was the amount of water fountains in ride queues, for example. Now, other parks we've been to have those as well, but I feel like they had so many in some of their ride queues where I think we noticed it at Hiccup's Wing Gliders first, but then we went on Fire Drill and noticed more there where we're like, these are very prominent in the ride queues. And so that's really nice for those hot summer days when people need to refill their water, drink it, like perfect. Then we also found out on our latest trip that water you can get from the freestyle machine without having to have one of the special sensor cups that Universal uses. So you can go fill up your water bottle with
free,
nice cold water.
Free water.
From any of the freestyle machines. So if you find a quick service location, you can go ahead and fill those.
And going off of water fountains, they also have a large amount of fountains in this park, which I enjoy a lot. The water features are everywhere. And I think just about every portal has some sort of fountain or water feature somewhere throughout. So it gives that feeling that you're not really in a concrete jungle. Water con, though. I know this isn't all the bathrooms, and this was just one of them, but we had gone to the Nintendo bathroom. So even though technical rehearsal, whatever, your bathroom door stalls should be able to actually close and latch. So the stalls in the male bathroom didn't actually latch and close. So you had to hold the door shut if you were trying to go in the stall because the latches weren't actually put on properly. That's simple stuff right there. You shouldn't have to be worried about, can I actually go to the bathroom in this park?
Did it seem like an install issue or did it seem like someone
Yeah, install. So you closed the door, the lock was here, and it only went to here. So the door stopped here, and I was like, and I couldn't get it to go past the thing to actually lock it.
Okay.
So it just wasn't.
That should have been an easy fix during install then. So that's not even
exactly. I'm like, you can't have those small of issues on a park opening.
Dude, I couldn't even tell you where bathrooms were in Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic.
I don't even know.
I don't think we walked past a single bath. I was just thinking of it. I think we've maybe gone in Isle of Berk. We went at the park entrance. Mm-hmm. We did do the Super Nintendo. I couldn't tell you where they are in Dark Universe, hidden. I don't think either. Oh, no, I know where one is in Dark Universe. We didn't use it, but yeah, I have no clue about Harry Potter. That world I'm so confused by that, but we'll touch on that in a few minutes here. So the main one that we noticed, personally, both times, was the lack of shade. And I know other people have talked about it. I've seen it in Reddits, on Instagram, and other YouTube videos. that obviously they have to plant younger trees. You plant young trees, so they're just not big yet. They're not causing shade. But in a brand new park, opening May 22nd, right before the summer, to me, you need to then provide shade. Now, I've heard people say that they have listened and actually added umbrellas and things since, the early preview days. I don't know. I didn't notice it too much when we went a couple days ago. Maybe some tables and umbrellas. Unless you're waiting in a queue for something. Some of the queues, that would be a pro, in my opinion, had great shade. So Hiccup's Wing Gliders had like some of those mesh coverings over the sun. And then Fire Drill had like a concrete roof over top. So no sun was getting in through there. Donkey Kong was inside. Yoshi would be inside, and so was Mario Kart. So like there's some good shade if you're in line for rides, but other than that, it's a bit tricky to find it.
That's a good point though. Coming right into the summer when this park opens, they're gonna have like a mass heat exhaustion at this park because there's no shade whatsoever. Unless you are actively riding something or paying down to sit at a restaurant, there's no shade. We did find secret tunnel passageway in Harry Potter, off in the far right side of the park. There's a whole almost like cafeteria section just filled with empty tables and space for you to go hang out in.
That was in the secret bar that we were talking about, that we had no clue was there.
On the other side of the bar. But again, no one knows that's there. We didn't even know it's there. We just turned around and we were like, what the?
Like, what is this?
Where did we go?
One last thing on that, and then we'll move on, I promise. Enough about shade. But when you do sit in the shade, it feels amazing. Like, we found just a tree in Dark Universe when we grabbed our drink, and it was shady. So we were still outside, but there was a nice breeze. It felt so good.
It was nice.
So like, just a little bit of shade, please. Universal, if you're listening, and we know that you are. A little bit of shade, please. I guess these are all more just concerns. You're right. They're not really cons. They're all concerns. So the next one I would say is going to be, Ben touched on it a little bit, stairs. Super Nintendo World has stairs everywhere. Oh my gosh, everywhere. So if you want to go in through the main portal, which I think everyone does, unless there is that side entrance, you can still go there too and you end up on the bottom floor, or there's elevators to take you to the second floor. You end up on the second floor. All the rides, I guess Mario Kart's upstairs. But Yoshi and then going down to Donkey Kong, you have to then go down the stairs. We went on Yoshi for the first time the other day. You have to climb up the stairs into a treehouse. Donkey Kong, I don't think there were any stairs on that one.
Oh. Not only do you have to climb up the stairs into the treehouse, at the end of the ride, you have to climb down the stairs back out of the treehouse. Yeah. So you go upstairs to get into Nintendo, downstairs to get down to the ride, upstairs to get up to the ride, and downstairs to get back down into the world. Just to ride Yoshi. That's a lot of staircases. You're right, they love stairs here. Because also, when boarding Hiccup's Wing Gliders, you don't just walk onto the craft. You go upstairs to go over the boarding to go back down to board. Just walk on and board. Why are there so many stairs?
Okay, enough about stairs. We'll move on to the next con that I've seen around, and that is going to be the price of the Express Pass. So going into the summer, going into park opening, the average is $280. So it can range anywhere from like $130 to $350 from what I was seeing. $280 is the average for the summer. So that is on top of your park ticket, which is already $150. So that's over $400 if my quick math is correct. I don't know.
That's a lot of money.
With that, you also cannot ride 3 of the rides. Dragon Racers Rally, which is an interesting one to me. That's one where it's individual people. And it's kind of like one of those carnival style rides and you're kind of flying in the air.
I wonder if it loads too slow that having a fast pass for it, you wouldn't be able to move the actual line at all.
I had that same thought too.
So I'm wondering if it just wouldn't work.
Because the other one is Minecart Madness, which is also low capacity. There's 4 people per coaster.
True.
Which just moves really slow. And then the other is obviously because it's too popular, Ministry of Magic. With that, I think we'll kind of segue into I personally don't like virtual queues. My views have changed. I liked them at one point, don't like them at other points. I think for Harry Potter rides, it's not feasible. It's not the best course of action. I understand it's going to be the most popular ride, but we couldn't get a virtual queue at 6 o'clock. We were almost right on time. Like, we went, got it all done. They were out of queue space. So we didn't try the 11 or the 3. But if you tried the 11 and 3 and you also missed the 6, you're not going on it. You can't go wait in line. Like, sorry, you're SOL. So I have mixed feelings on virtual queues, because otherwise that line is going to be 6 hours long and you will literally be in it all day.
I'm a strong proponent of, if you want to ride it that badly, let me drop $30.
Oh.
Done. Fast pass, done. If you want to ride it that badly that you'll wait in a 3-4 hour line, cool, go for it.
I wonder if this is totally me just making this up. Again, they're in technical rehearsals. That's kind of my next item, is touching on some of the rides and the delays. But they have 3 virtual queue times, 11, 3, and 6. So I wonder if that helps them with, we're going to be down this morning. We're not letting virtual queues open till 3 o'clock. So your 11 o'clock is out the window. You don't have to worry about the 11 o'clock board time, dealing with the people, the upset people. That's just not even in the question. 3 o'clock, we'll open it up when the ride opens. So if you get your virtual queue at 3, go ahead. Kind of just to make it easier on them until everything is operating smoothly. So going along with that is going to be some of the delays. Now, again, I understand they're in technical rehearsals. I get it. So don't come for me, please. I'm just giving my opinion on all this. But today, for example, it's a Sunday, May 4th, first of all. May the 4th be with you. At 11:42 this morning, so assume the park opened at 10. It opened at 10. Early access got in at 9:30. The park opened at 10. Happened to have just checked the app. Curse of the Werewolf, Hiccups Wing Glider, and Minecart Madness were all delayed. Not open as of 11:45. And Ministry of Magic is not opening until 3 p.m. today. So I went and checked the wait times for everything else, and you're in for a treat. If all of those rides are down, those are the 3 coasters in the park. Other than Stardust, those are going to be your coasters more for kids, non-coaster enthusiasts like me. That's all you got. So the other wait times, Mario Kart was an hour. Oh no, sorry, not an hour, 110 minutes. Yoshi was 50 minutes. You had Dragon Racers Rally at 50 minutes too. So that's a hot ticket item. Stardust Racers was about 60 minutes. And then Monsters Unchained was at about 55 as well. So that really spiked the wait times for everything else. And again, limited capacity. I've heard this is 30% for the preview. So it's very concerning that if these rides aren't fully operational when the park opens on the 22nd, who knows what the capacity is going to be? I haven't heard anything, but I also haven't looked too much into it. But if those are all down, opening weekend at 11:45, that's going to cause problems.
If you're at 70-minute waits at a 30% capacity, I imagine at max capacity, these will all be over 100 minutes.
My only other concern is just going to be opening weekend. I'm really interested to see if they operate at 60% capacity, 75, how the normal food operations are going to go. Are rides going to be delayed? Are shows going to be delayed? Are they going to be up and running? Like, how is it all going to function? So we're going to be there opening weekend. I don't know which day yet. So we originally purchased these 6 months ago with a hotel package before we were annual pass holders. With that package, we're staying at the hotels, but we also bought 3-day park tickets before we were annual pass holders. So that is what it is. 2 days you can use at Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios, and then 1 is for Epic Universe. Now, you don't get to choose what day you're going necessarily. So we're gonna show up and hope that we can get in. And my only concern is, we talked about going in the morning, kind of around park opening, but what if we're kicked out? So we had talked about going in the morning to see what the morning crowds are like, how long are the wait times when you first get in, but what if they're already at capacity? What if the park opens at 10 and they're already at capacity? And we also talked about, since we're staying at a resort, go back to the hotel for a couple hours, recoup, take a nap, then come back in the evening. But what then if they're at capacity? We can't get back in. So I don't know. It's a bit concerning. I just don't know how that's going to work. I've seen that Universal has factored in their ticket sales for those 3 days. I don't know. So what if, I don't know. Everybody's going to choose to go Thursday. So I was hoping if we go Friday or Saturday, we'll be okay. But then that starts factoring in everyone who bought a Friday, Saturday, Sunday package versus a Thursday, Friday. Like, it just sounds very messy to me, and I'm a little concerned about that. I just think we should have had to reserve our day or click our day so they know exactly what day we're coming. So I guess one more thing is, since we're staying at a hotel, we'll get early access to the park. So that'll be great for that. So I guess we should be in the park and ready to go. But if we go and leave for an afternoon break, because we already scanned in once, can we scan in again? Because they're not going to know we left, you know? So we're going to rescan in, and it's going to be, well, now we're at capacity. I don't know. I'm just concerned. I don't want to be at the park for the whole time it's open, that opening weekend. I feel like we're going to need to take a midday break. So I guess we'll report back to you guys on how that goes too, if we can even get back in. One kind of quick positive to round this all off is we'll go over a ride review. I think we kind of did it in our first video when we went and rode the rides, but just put it in the video here and go over what we liked, or maybe a couple critiques on the rides that we've been on. So the first one we're going to talk about is going to be Donkey Kong Minecart Madness. Donkey Kong. Yeah.
I'll start it off by saying, obviously walking up to the Donkey Kong coaster, it looks outrageous, it looks insane, it just looks fun. It's very enticing. You're watching everyone go over the temple, they're banking around turns, everyone's screaming. It's very enticing, and it makes you want to go ride it. For a new coaster, I'm a little shocked at how rickety and bumpy it is. I know they're using a new ride system that's an arm holding the car on top, so obviously that's going to be a little rickety.
I think it's supposed to be that way from what I've heard from other people. It doesn't make it enjoyable in my opinion. It's still fun, but the rickety aspect of it is like you're jumping on the mine carts, right? You're jumping from track to track, just like in the game. So it's supposed to be like you're hitting down super hard, but a couple of times we like looked at each other like, oh my goodness, like that was crazy, or you like really get whipped one way. And then I also want to throw in, there's an animatronic or two that is not working. Didn't work when we went originally, didn't work, I guess yesterday, according to someone I saw online. So there's still some things that they need to iron out on that end too. Overall, I thought it was a cute coaster though. I liked it. It felt like you were kind of following a story. Like I kind of understood what we were doing.
They incorporated some good elements from the game. You get to go through your launch takeoff through the barrel, like in Donkey Kong Country and Mario Kart, which that felt super cool. Obviously, I guess it's a Universal issue, but for some reason, the animatronics are just not turning out too great. Because also on Frankenstein's Manor in the castle ride, reportedly the animatronics are breaking down there too. And it's very rare to ride it with all of them working, apparently. So how, again, no, it's technical rehearsal, but how are you having a rehearsal with nothing working? That's a little scary. So I'm worried we're gonna be like weeks, maybe months into the park opening, and they're gonna have to shut down stuff for a full refurbish because there's no animatronics working. I think it goes back to what she said, where Donkey Kong is a fun ride and it was still a lot of fun, but you definitely miss out on some of those story elements because everything wasn't working. So is it a fun coaster? Yeah.
I'm concerned about, just the park operations and people online. I'm just saying people online because I was looking around to make sure we weren't crazy on some of these points and make sure other people were kind of along the same lines as us. Some people are saying, give them the benefit of the doubt. It's a new park, it's new technology, so they have to make sure things are up and running. But in my opinion too, they've had years to plan it, develop it, and now they're testing it. They've been in previews for, I think cast member previews started like 2 months ago. And then you have a month or two of annual, and now just everybody, anyone can go buy a pass to previews. And things still aren't, 4 rides were delayed today. That just seems crazy in my opinion for, hey, you're opening in 18 days. Hiccup's Wing Gliders, I think we agree. It's at least my favorite, actually. I don't know if you like Stardust more.
Yeah, I think Hiccup's is the favorite.
It's a good, I heard people calling it like a starter coaster. If you haven't been on coasters before, it's got good elements of you're pretty fast. There's only maybe 1 or 2 slight stomach drops, nothing too crazy. You kind of go backwards a little bit. Yeah, you really like weave and turn. It has like everything you want in a coaster. Yeah. It's a decent length as well. And it's themed to How to Train Your Dragon. So how can you go wrong?
Yeah, I think this one was my favorite coaster because it was the smoothest in the park. It was the only coaster where going through the whole ride, you weren't getting jerked around. You weren't, like everything that happened was a whoosh, whoosh. You were gliding like you were on a wing glider. And they really kind of encaptured that feeling. I also think a big pro for this ride is the fact that they showed off the park with this ride. So you're riding through the entire park. You're going through Isle of Berk. You're flying through the water. You're going under the bridge. You're going high in the sky. You're seeing dragons. Like, they incorporated everything into the ride, which is what I thought they were going to be doing at every one of the parks, is have a ride like that.
I guess we'll go into Yoshi real quick. We should have gone in order of land, but that's okay. Yoshi was cute. We didn't have to wait for it. It was a walk-on.
It was a little short.
Yeah.
They do have a game you can play while riding it, which is find the Yoshi eggs. But it's almost not a game because it's not difficult. There's no challenge. There's no...
I think it's meant for kids, I think. But it's all right there.
You would have to try to lose that game, is what I'm saying.
They're just following Nintendo World in Japan. They pretty much copied and pasted everything from there here, including the coaster and everything. My only, thing I didn't like is we went at night, so there was no sun. But if you're going in the middle of the day, it's like a slow moving ride. You're baking in the sun for the 5 to 7 minute long ride.
You're roasting.
There's maybe one little indoor section, but you're outside. Back over to Isle of Berk now. Fire drill.
Ooh, fire drill.
Oh. So we went the first time we went to the park. It was first thing in the morning. It was right after Hiccup's Wing Gliders. Oh my gosh. We were drenched. I don't think we knew how to play the game. I still don't think we know how to play the game. It's just, you shoot targets. But if you shoot a blue target, you're sabotaging yourself. You're hitting yourself with water. We were drenched by the end of it. Yeah. My hair was wet. My pants and underwear were wet. And drenched. No, it was fun and I liked it. And we dried off fairly quickly. It was hot enough that you kind of dried off, but I don't think I knew 100% what we were in for. Last one that we'll do together is the Curse of the Werewolf coaster.
So I think Curse of the Werewolf is great in its intention, but the execution fell a little flat because I think the goal of this werewolf ride here was you wanted to see some of Dark Universe. You wanted to be shown Dark Universe. You wanted to see some werewolves even. But this whole coaster it almost felt like a half pipe coaster where you're just kind of going up in a loop and going back down in the other loop. And you're just kind of spinning around. Sure, there's more to it, but it didn't feel like there was. Especially after coming off of a ride like Hiccup's Wing Glider, when you're like, wow, yes, this is epic. That's what I expected it to be. You walk over expecting that same kind of execution with werewolf, and you just go, at least when we got off the ride, we went, where was the werewolf? I didn't see the werewolf. Where is the werewolf? So it didn't scream werewolf to me at all.
Don't come for me, people. But I was disappointed. I think it was a little shorter than I was anticipating. We were kind of talking about some concept art. Some of it showed that the coaster was exactly what it is, and some of it showed it went around all of Dark Universe.
Yeah.
So when it was just kind of that little half pipe thing, I felt like it was over in 30 seconds. There is a werewolf, but the girls in front of us told us where to look because we had no clue. And if you did not know that was there, I wouldn't
You're
have
not
seen
seeing
it.
it.
Part of the thrill with the spinning all depends on your weight and the weight of the people behind you. Because some people don't spin at all. We spun a pretty decent amount. Other people spin a crazy amount. And it just, I don't know. I think I was expecting something a little more.
I think especially when you have so many big elements like Frankenstein's mansion and the burning windmill in the background, at least me, I'm expecting it would be so easy and cool to go behind that windmill. Or, oh, you're looping around it and you go, holy cow, it just lit on fire. This is the best night ever.
Oh my
it would be
gosh,
so easy to create those kind of moments. And I don't know, just maybe they were stopped by some things and couldn't execute it the way they wanted to, but I definitely wish Werewolf was something a little more, is a good way to put it. Because again, it's not bad, but it's not what you want it to be. Stardust Racers, my goodness. You're gonna have to look at me at this one because I'm the only one who rode this ride. So Stardust Racers is a lot of fun. If you're a thrill seeker, if you like coasters, this is definitely the ride for you. It's obviously the showstopper here at Epic Universe. I'm sure you've seen online how you can almost touch hands with the other coaster at one point. You've seen it light up at night, etc., etc. Now keep in mind, I'm not the biggest thrill seeker alive out here, but I will say I think Stardust Racers almost had a little too much thrill to it, dare I say, where the thrill almost oversighted the fun of the coaster for me, in my opinion. Sure, are you walking off going, what the heck just happened? Am I alive? Am I okay? I mean, yeah, of course, and it's awesome. But I definitely don't like riding a coaster that gives me the sense or feel like I might be unsafe riding said coaster. Now, was this just me in my seat? I don't know. This could just be a personal experience here. But every one of our big up dips, so every one of the top hats on the coaster where you go up and come back down, I was pulled down because I went off my seat and hit the harness and got pulled back down. And I couldn't put my harness down anymore. Like, it was as tight as it could go, but it seemed like that was almost the point of the coaster, is to give you that sense of, oh shit, I'm free falling, I'm falling off the top hat, but no, you're not, you're on the coaster. Which it was almost too thrilling for me, where I would rather just ride it, if that makes sense. Because I'm all fine with loops and spins and dips and whatnot, but I don't like feeling unsafe, if that makes sense. And it definitely made me feel, I know it's not unsafe, but it gives you that thrill that you might be unsafe because you're going so high up and you might be lifting in your seat, you're upside down. Yeah, so I would say it's definitely worth giving it a try and trying Stardust Racers here. But do be warned, if you're not into the thrill aspect of coasters, this one just isn't for you, unfortunately. I was actively riding this one, and my main thoughts were she would die if she was on this coaster, just out of straight fear. Because, again, it's not the fear of the drops or the twists or the turns. For me, it was that I almost feel like I'm going to die on this coaster and I'm flying and I'm like, which again, could be the point of the coaster, and maybe it's just not for me and I'm not that kind of thrill seeker. Now, I will say I did notice riding it that there's 2 different track options for your experience of the ride. Everyone, when I was going up to the queue, was lined up in the green car, the green track experience. And the entire yellow track had no one in it. It was empty. So I was like, yeah, I'll ride on the yellow track. Who cares? Maybe the yellow track is more intense than the green, and that's why people are picking that green track. It's that maybe not as crazy feel, where yellow's like, I'm thrill seeker, take me to the Thunderdome. Like,
that is what we read. One gives you more airtime, where one gave you more. Right. I can't remember what the other one was. I'll put it in.
So, yeah, so like she was saying then, the yellow one gives you more airtime. So that when I'm describing that sense of like coming off of the seat and feeling a little unsafe, that might be the point of that yellow side of the coaster, is to feel like you're flying. but it just wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. I wouldn't be rewriting this one if I'm going back to the park every time.
Go with family or friends when they're visiting.
It definitely feels like one of those rides where you can say, yeah, I've ridden Stardust Racers. Maybe I was scared, okay? I will say though, I do think this ride would be a lot more enjoyable at night. Not only because you have the night lights and the lights of the park and the city around you and everything like that, but I think it makes some of those high up inversions a little less terrifying because you can't see what you're looking down at. You're not looking straight at the ground anymore. It's just black. So I think it might be a little more free feeling and enjoyable at night. Stardust Racers is a little bit of a spectacle though at night in the park, which is nice. Almost except for Nintendo and Dark Universe, I think, everywhere else you are in the park, you can see Stardust Racers flying over in the hilltops, and it looks cool. It's very, eye-grabbing. It's capturing. And I will say, too, because this was our first time at night, we noticed that every portal has its own portal laser that gets shot up into the sky like a beacon, and they all conjoin at the top in some trifecta beacon of epic universeness. It just looks cool. It's awesome. Saying a little more about the nighttime here, I really think they utilized how to transform each of the portals for a nighttime vibe.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people argue that it's better at night. I guess that's one more thing I did want to mention. We just keep going off. We only had about an hour of darkness, maybe 45 minutes. So when we filmed our latest video, we had less than 15 minutes in each portal because then we had to run to each portal just to see what it even looked like.
I just liked how even walking up to each of the portals, not the actual themed park itself, the literal Epic Universe portals looked different. They glowed. They kind of drew you in a little bit more at night, and they had a little more of that ambience to them.
Okay, I think we are done. Really, it was more of a rant than anything. I just wanted to mention my concerns and see if other people had these concerns as well. So if you agree with any, if you've been to the park or maybe you have questions about the park, let us know below. We will be going opening weekend, like I said. So hopefully some of these kinks that they're having will be worked out a little bit. Even not, maybe just a couple weeks into it. Again, I know it's all technical rehearsal. I know things are still being, final screws are being tightened and all of that, but still think there's some things that they need to work on. But other than that, it is truly a fun park. I think it's a great time. I do think you'd maybe need 2 days at the park to actually get everything done, especially once capacity goes up. Between the shows, the coaster, if you're wanting to eat food and try all that food, it is a lot to do in one day where you might need 2 days at the park.
I do think the park is worth a visit.
Oh, absolutely.
Just maybe monitor how they handle the crowds and the opening of the park and just see when is the proper time to go, maybe.
Yeah, I'd maybe give it a little time. A lot of people are kind of going that September, October timeframe from what I hear, which is really perfect. Maybe even November. I think you'll be good crowd-wise, weather-wise. All the kinks should be ironed out, so that's probably your peak time to go. But we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll keep you guys updated on Epic Universe as we kind of go through it. So thank you all for talking about Epic Universe with us today. I hope you'll stick around and experience more.